The 1960s cult classic Barbarella is getting a reboot, with Sydney Sweeney set to take the lead, and there's already a lot of buzz about it. Originally based on a French comic by Jean-Claude Forest, the 1968 film Barbarella starred Jane Fonda as a space adventurer on a mission to stop an evil scientist named Durand Durand, who's created a weapon that could wipe out humanity. While it wasn't as big as some other sci-fi hits of its time, like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Barbarella left a lasting mark on the sci-fi genre. When it first came out, critics weren't too impressed, and it didn't exactly crush it at the box office. But Barbarella quickly gained a cult following, especially as later generations embraced its campy, spacey vibe. The movie brilliantly captured the sexual revolution through a fun, cheesy sci-fi lens, and it remained a fan favorite. Now, with a remake in the works and Sydney Sweeney on board, there's a lot of excitement about what this new version will bring to the table. That said, Edgar Wright, the award-winning director known for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Shaun of the Dead, is in talks to direct. Although nothing's set in stone yet, Wright is reportedly on the shortlist to take the helm of the Sydney Sweeney-led project. Given his knack for blending genres in movies like Baby Driver, Wright seems like a perfect fit for this campy sci-fi flick. However, there's a catch. His packed schedule might get in the way, especially if the studio wants to move quickly on the project. So while things are still up in the air, it's exciting to think about what Wright could bring to Barbarella. If Edgar Wright takes on the Barbarella remake, it's going to be interesting to see how he reimagines the wild, over-the-top plot of the original. The 1968 version is a quirky mix of sci-fi adventure and campy humor, set in a future where space adventurer Barbarella is sent on a mission by Earth's president to track down Durand Durand, who's invented a dangerous laser weapon called the positronic ray. Things get pretty weird pretty quickly, starting with Barbarella crash landing on a planet, getting attacked by creepy mechanical dolls, and then being rescued by a guy named Mark Hand, who's patrolling the ice in search of runaway kids. This is also where Barbarella gets her first taste of old-fashioned physical sex, which is considered primitive back on Earth. From there, Barbarella teams up with a blind angel named Pygar, whom she literally helps get back on his feet and wings by getting cozy with him. They end up in the chaotic city of Sogo, where they face off against the Black Queen and her sinister concierge. Sogo is powered by something called the Mathmos, a living energy source fueled by evil thoughts. The whole situation gets crazier when Barbarella is captured, placed in a deadly machine that's supposed to kill her with pleasure, and somehow manages to survive, which freaks out the concierge, who then reveals he's actually Durand Durand. As Durand tries to take over Sogo, Barbarella and the Black Queen find themselves trapped in the Queen's Chamber of Dreams, as the Mathmos threatens to devour them. However, because of Barbarella's innocence, the Mathmos form a protective bubble around them, allowing them to escape with Pygar's help. The angel, showing a surprising lack of hard feelings, flies them to safety, leaving us with a story that's equal parts bizarre, entertaining, and thought-provoking. Now, if Edgar Wright steps in, he could take this wild ride and infuse it with his signature style, sharp wit, fast-paced action, and a love for blending genres. He might keep the core elements of the original plot, but give it a fresh spin, perhaps deepening the characters or adding modern touches to the campy humor. Plus, with Sydney Sweeney in the lead, the new Barbarella could be a perfect mix of nostalgia and contemporary sci-fi, with Wright's direction bringing out the best of both worlds. Like a lot of cult classics, Barbarella has seen its fair share of revival attempts, remakes, and reboots over the years. The latest remake isn't the first time someone's tried to bring the 1968 film back to life, but this one feels like it has a bit more momentum. In 2022, it was officially announced that Sydney Sweeney would be taking on the iconic role, which gave this reboot a level of seriousness that previous efforts didn't quite reach. While there hasn't been much news since then, the fact that Sweeney is attached to the project has kept fans intrigued, even though updates have been few and far between. Jane Fonda's portrayal of Barbarella in the original cult classic was a career-defining role, so the remake will need a young star with the same kind of charisma to really make an impact. Enter Sydney Sweeney, the only name currently attached to the project, who's set to lead as the iconic intergalactic hero. With Sweeney not only starring but also serving as an executive producer, her star power might just attract other big names to the film. So there's a good chance the Barbarella remake could turn into a star-studded ensemble that lives up to its predecessor. Even Jane Fonda has expressed her concerns about Sydney Sweeney's upcoming Barbarella remake. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Fonda, who originally played the role, shared her unease about the project, particularly due to the film's sexist undertones. As a feminist pioneer in Hollywood, Fonda isn't exactly thrilled about the remake, saying, "I try not to think about it because I worry about what it's going to be. I had an idea of how to do it that Dino De Laurentiis, when he was still alive, wouldn't listen to, but it could have been a truly feminist movie." This raises the question of why the original Barbarella was so controversial. Although it eventually became a cult classic and heavily influenced pop culture, the film wasn't always celebrated, especially when it came to its portrayal of women. Critics initially panned the movie, and it didn't help that it opened with a striptease and included a self-pleasuring scene, leading to Fonda being labeled a sex symbol, a title she has criticized over the years. While some people saw Barbarella as a symbol of sexual empowerment, others took issue with the way it relied on stereotypical depictions of women, with the lead character's power being closely tied to her sexuality rather than independent of it. It's clear Fonda shares this critique, mentioning that she had ideas to make it more of a feminist film, which unfortunately didn't come to fruition. With Sydney Sweeney gearing up to debut as the classic sci-fi hero, and Dynamite Entertainment has decided to relaunch the character in a brand new comic series by Blake Northcott and Anna Morozova. After 7 years under Dynamite's wing, this October relaunch promises to be one of the most exciting yet for Barbarella fans. Announced just before the 2024 San Diego Comic-Con, the new series is set to release in October and will pick up where Barbarella left off, after saving the world and enjoying some downtime with her alien pet, Vix. But when Earth's oldest space colony starts showing signs of trouble, Barbarella is back in action, setting off on another cosmic adventure and crossing paths with some shady characters. Dynamite has also teased that this journey will take Barbarella to more unexplored planets than ever before, which could potentially influence the plot of the upcoming movie. This fresh take on the commons might even give us a hint of what to expect from Sydney's version of the iconic character on the big screen. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Do you think the new Barbarella movie with Sydney Sweeney will stay true to the original or take a more modern feminist approach? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and your suggestions for future videos are always welcome.